I was hitting really well.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Highly Taken Podcast, the number 3 podcast with somebody who may or may not have a penis under 2 inches. I am David Seekberg, back here again from Tallahassee, Florida.
I'm Dylan, coming at you from Des Moines, Iowa.
We will never know who that is, I guess. Nick back at you in Jacksonville. Let's get it, guys. We have a lot of news today.
Again, let's just start with a quick Gone in 60 Seconds. And I just have a question I want to ask, maybe a little conversation to be had here. If you could...
6.5 inches.
Okay. If you could, would you swap the championship results of any of your favorite teams? For example, obviously, the Eagles would be 3-1 in Super Bowls instead of 1-3.
Wait, if we could what?
If you could swap the results of one of your favorite team's championships, would you do it? So I said, like, the Eagles, instead of being 1-3 in Super Bowls, would be 3-1.
What's the caveat to it?
That's there's no caveat. That's it.
It basically would be like the one Super Bowl win
would be a loss, and the other losses would be wins.
So like Nick Foles wouldn't have his statue, stuff like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I would actually. I would, because that's interesting. I would because I feel like we got cheated out of one last year. I would have loved to see one when I was a kid, and yeah, I would. I would 100% would.
Done?
I would say yes as well, but the only way I would have said no is if the Eagles would have won the Super Bowl 57, I think 57.
Yeah.
If the Eagles would have won Super Bowl 57, I'd say no, only because I was old enough to remember it.
It would be 2-2.
And I'm not old,
so
like
that
Nick.
would not have mattered that much if we.
He wouldn't have been able to see them.
Yeah, but that's the biggest thing is just really more the fact that, you know, obviously the one Super Bowl that we do have was a crazy one. Nick Foles came out. There was an underdog story. We've been waiting for so long, and we wouldn't have that. You know, Nick Foles wouldn't be a legend in Eagles history.
Nick.
Yeah,
and that would be the craziest part about that is, you know, Doug Peterson, Nick Foles, he wouldn't have that Super Bowl. Now everybody like Fletch, you know, Kelsey would if they swapped. McNabb would have one, and it'd be more interesting to see if they would have won that. Would T.O. have stayed? Who knows? But yeah, I just thought this is
probably
a question.
not.
You think he would have left after 1 year still?
But yeah, it's because of his relationship with Donovan McNabb that he left.
No, you know what? You just helped me out. I 100% would. Andy Reid would have won a Super Bowl with us. He would still be our coach to this day. We would have Patty Mahomes, and we would have Travis Kelce on our team because he strictly drafted them himself. So you know what? Yeah, we would see the Kelce brothers together. Maybe Jason Kelce doesn't retire this year. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, I would swap in a heartbeat.
You think the Eagles would have been a dynasty?
I think they very well could have been.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe if they would have made the more Super Bowls in the 2000s, maybe we would have been a dynasty. But yeah, we'll just get into some NFL news. I mean, a lot has happened since our Monday episode. I'm going to go by team, not all of them, but bigger team names. So first, let's obviously Baltimore Ravens. They're the ones who won Derrick Henry sweepstakes. They got him, but they lost Patrick Queen in free agency as well. You know, after acquisition, their odds actually did not change either way for the Super Bowl. They had the same exact odds before and after Henry. But do you think this move should make the Ravens favorites?
No.
I think that
answer.
I think that they lost. I think they lost a huge defensive leader and a huge defensive presence with Patrick Queen. Linebacker is a very important and underrated position in the NFL.
As Eagles fans, we know this.
Yeah. And so you're losing that guy. And yes, you're adding Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the league, to your team, but you don't have receivers as well. You have Zay Flowers maybe.
You lost OBJ.
You lost Odell, and you're looking at, yes, you can go run heavy, but when a team doesn't have receiving talent, and you rely on the run game, all it takes is for a team to play heavy run and rely on good cornerback play, and they can shut you down.
I don't think they should be favorites by any means. They took, like Dylan said, a leader on that defense. That's a hard thing to stop there. I mean, that's a hard thing to bring back. You bring a leader on that defense back, you're helping the defense in the long run, getting those rookies and everyone prepared. Whereas you're losing a guy like that, I don't know. I'd rather have the heart and soul on that defense than bring in a guy that arguably is injury prone, can't play all the time, and to go along with a quarterback that finally had a healthy season, that doesn't have receivers, only has a tight end. One of them is good, likely's good. The other one, another injury prone player. So what it is it's a big what if they stay healthy for me. And I don't think they did anything to capitalize their defense. Yes, their defense was amazing last year, but that doesn't mean you pick that apart and put more on the offense. You leave the defense the way it is, in my opinion. So if it were up to me, I'd grade them at like a C maybe on that, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be what Dylan was talking about earlier, and we've talked about it before. I mean, just really, what's Lamar going to do, especially come playoff time? When you're playing the best defenses in the league during the playoffs, and we've seen what he does. He shuts down, unfortunately. Oh, yes, unfortunately, whatever. However, Ravens fan out, because it's fortunately, but he just shuts down. He's not who he usually is, and he throws bad balls. He misses open targets. He throws picks when they don't need to be picked. So that's going to be the thing, and it's something that you would say he needs to grow, but he's been in the league for 5-6 years now. So how much can he actually grow at that point? Like, where's that growth gonna come from? And he hasn't changed the way he's played the game, unfortunately. So that's
appreciate you leaving the age out of it. That was very nice of you.
I mean, he's pretty young still. I think he wasn't younger than Burrow.
Yeah, he was for sure. But one thing I would say is I think to remember, the last time Ravens won a Super Bowl, they relied heavily on a defense that had a leader like Ray Lewis, had Ed Reed on that defense as well, and they had a mediocre quarterback in Joe Flacco, who he had a great season that year. He had a really good season that year, great playoffs, but he also had a great defense that could get him the ball back a lot. But the second that they lost those two guys, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, the Ravens stopped being Super Bowl contenders for years.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously relies on that defense. They've always been a defensive team. I mean, they built that culture literally when they became a franchise with Ray Lewis. So, I mean, that's just, it's crazy to think that he could be with the Browns. And man, that sucks. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like it, but I don't really care because I'm not a fan of the Ravens. So
yeah, I mean, anybody but Dallas. But I guess the next one after that is going to be the reigning champs. We're going to talk about the Chiefs a little bit. They re-signed Jones. They tagged Snead. However, it looks like they're still wanting to trade him somewhere. But, they got two great offensive pieces. They got Irv Smith Jr. to pair with Travis Kelce. And then last night they got Hollywood Brown in free agency. Not quite Tyreek, but, kind of fits his schema as well. More importantly, though, we're going to talk about how their division isn't good now. It really isn't good. We'll talk about the Chargers a little bit later on, but the Broncos, I mean, I don't know what they're doing. And then obviously the Raiders aren't really much of competition out there either. It's easy path. It
looks like both the Chargers and the Broncos are tearing apart their teams and trying to rebuild them from the ground up. One thing that you can look out for with the Chargers, they traded away Keenan Allen for a fifth rounder
or a fourth
for a fourth rounder. You traded away your best wide receiver for a fourth rounder. You released Mike Williams, and I think your best wide receiver now
is Quentin Johnson or Josh Palmer.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson. But one thing to look out with the Chargers, don't be surprised if they try and trade up, maybe go after Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, they're going to sit back at 5 and draft Neighbors. I think that has to be the move now. Like they lost 2 good receivers. They lost
Yeah,
Eckler. They don't have the running back to replace Eckler with is Gus Edwards, who one is injury prone and 2 just isn't
Gus
as good.
Bus.
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, it looks like they're in full rebuild mode at this point. I don't know. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall when Chicago came up to him and be like, "Hey, we'll give you a 4th-round draft pick for Keenan Allen." What? What? Like, I get it. He's injury prone. I get that. But the caliber player that they're getting with having Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and then Kmet over there, dude, with Swift in the backfield, that offense, if they can get some offensive line, that's a scary team. And they have the number 1 pick and what is it,
9.
the 8th pick, 9th pick? That's scary. At this point, I'd be trading some of these picks for some values because do you need Marvin Harrison at this point? I mean,
could see
take him.
I could see them trying to get him, or right now maybe they believe in Justin Fields. Maybe they want to build around Justin Fields, but like I don't see that with the Bears. Bears are a franchise where they can try and build around, but they're gonna wind up doing their quarterback dirty, trading him away, and then drafting the next guy up.
I just feel like if they were sticking with Fields, they would have told us by now. I feel like that's where we're at this point. Like, why haven't, unless they're really just wanting the field options until the day of the draft, unless they're just playing that long of a game, I just don't see why on earth you would not give some inkling of to anybody like, oh yeah, he's our guy, or oh no, he's not our guy.
Well, it could be them trying to have another team who maybe want Caleb Williams more. Maybe they're going to try and get as much of a value from that pick as they can. Because if I'm a GM, I'm not going to let people know, oh, I'm sticking with Justin Fields, because I want a team to be like, oh, well, we really want Caleb Williams, and try and get a good trade out of it.
I think what you're going to see happen is they're going to trade out of that spot at this point. I think unless nobody takes a trade, they're gonna take him at 1. Caleb Williams, I would say they're probably going to do that, but I feel like they're going to trade out of that spot. From what I'm seeing and how they're building this right now, they're going to trade out of it. And if they really want Marvin Harrison that bad, they cannot go lower than the 3 spot, because the Cardinals are going to draft him, especially now. They are going to draft him at 4. So if depending on how much they want him, they need that 3 spot. So I guess they're going to have to swap with the Pats, and it just depends on how the Pats look. Do they go after Caleb Williams? I mean, I don't know. I don't see them. It depends on how much they're willing to give up, and if they really want Marvin Harrison at this point. Do they need him right now? Can they wait another year? Yeah, they can wait another year. But are you going to get the same caliber of players where it's going to come talent? You could trade out of that spot, get a couple offensive linemen, build it around him. I mean, that's what I would do. Get out of that spot, get some more picks for next year. Do what you need to do, but I don't see them doing it.
Yeah, and I guess we move on to the next team. It's going to be the Houston Texans, and honestly, one of the best free agencies this year is the Houston Texans. I mean, they went out, they got Joe Mixon, good running back. They got Daniel Hunter, good defensive line. They got Danico Autry. Jeff Okudah is going to be interesting. I'm going to want to see how Jeff Okudah does with this team. And then, obviously, Al-Shahir they got, which was great linebacker. This team definitely blew expectations out of the water last time. And what we said is they need defense. And did they go out and get a bunch of defense in free agency?
They killed it. They killed it, man. Whatever D'Amico's doing over there, I think he's pissed off that he didn't get Coach of the Year, because he should have. I mean, it's crazy what's happening over there. Man, if I was a Jags fan, you're building a culture over there. That's not a team I'd want to be in my division because that team is just getting better by the day.
No, exactly.
I just want to point out, look at last episode. I want to say that I called that Joe Mixon was going to be moving to Houston, and everybody thought I was crazy.
I don't think
But
anybody's
I wouldn't say you're crazy.
I know you didn't say I was crazy, but still, I called it.
crazy.
But I was crazy one. But Houston is doing exactly what they need to do. CJ Stroud is the brightest quarterback, like future quarterback. You guys are talking about possibly CJ Stroud having a sophomore slump. Could that happen? I think right now that Houston kind of knows this is the guy. And I honestly think with the pieces that they're building around, I think my prediction is getting stronger. I think CJ Stroud will be the MVP next year. I think he will take a giant leap and possibly go on a deep playoff run with the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a giant leap, right? Because I mean, in my opinion, he could have easily won the MVP last year based on his performance. So I wouldn't say it would be a giant leap from what he was saying. If he stays at the same caliber he was this year, he's going to be in talks for the MVP because he was last year. So he's going to be in talks of it. So I mean, I don't think he's going to have a sophomore slump. And as far as you call him the brightest out there, I don't know if you saw his IQ score. He's not the brightest out there. He's just very good at what he does. They very well could make a deep playoff run. They very well could.
I think they're going to the AFC Championship.
And my big thing right now is I'm very interested in that trade they just made with Minnesota. And they traded away the 23rd pick and the 232nd to Minnesota to get the 42nd, the 188th, and the second round for next year for Minnesota. So I'm very interested in why they would trade away their first round pick for 2 seconds. And I believe that's at 188. I believe that's like a fourth round, maybe something like that. I don't know what they're seeing there. I find it, again, I just find it interesting that that's the trade they made. Maybe they just didn't really think they needed anybody in the first round and would rather have 2 second round picks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with it. Based on what I'm seeing, what they've been doing right now, they don't really need, if there's not anyone on that board that they like, they don't really need to go after it. Get some value for next year. Maybe there's someone coming into the draft next year that you're seeing. A lot of people in the second round draft defensive players. That's a big spot for defensive players, and DeMeco Ryans has proven that he knows how to get those defensive players going.
And truthfully, I could see that being the spot where Jeremiah Trotter Jr. lands. And there's a lot of good linebackers there. DeMeco Ryans.
I swear, I will hate him. I will hate him. I don't hate him right now, but I will hate him if he takes the Eagle culture away.
I think one thing that I can see them going after, keep in mind next year's draft, maybe not this year's draft, but the next draft class. You have Amuka, the wide receiver from Ohio State, former teammate of CJ Stroud. I could see maybe the Texans going after him in the draft next year.
And he wouldn't fall to the second round, though. That's the only thing. He's a first round projection. So that'll be, it'd be interesting. And we'll truly get to see how the talent is, when college season starts up too. The next one I'm going to just talk about the whole NFC South. I feel like a lot of people have made some moves in the NFC South, except for the Saints, unless you want to count Nathan Peterman. That's not that huge of a move.
Let's go.
But I mean, when you start out with this, with the Bucks, they re-signed Mike Evans, they re-signed Baker. Other than that, they really haven't made much. They've tagged Antoine Winfield, but they lost Devin White. So I feel like that's huge. You have the Falcons, huge leaps. You get Kirk Cousins, probably overpaid, and then you get Darnell Mooney to pair with Drake London and Pitts and Bijan Robinson, and then the Panthers have a sneakily decent offseason so far. I mean, you trade for Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh. You get Robert Hunt as a good guard, and then you get DJ Wanham from the Vikings for only like $12.5 million 2 years, who had the exact same amount of sacks as Burns this past year. And obviously Burns is getting paid buku bucks over there in New York. So like this division, although it's been pretty mid the last couple of years, do you see it getting like picking up, or does it just stay kind of mid with them all beating up on each other?
Mid, mid. It'll always be a mid division. Always has been. Always will be.
I'll say I think the Falcons are looking like maybe not like contenders, but
But
I
like
think
mid,
that not mid. I think that uh they could be an actual favorite team in the NFC South comparatively to how they've been recently. Uh you didn't have a quarterback in Atlanta. The last 2 years you've had Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ritter as your quarterbacks, and now you're
yeah,
getting a veteran
Heineke.
in
That's
now
true.
you're getting a veteran in Kirk Cousins, who has been proven to be a good quarterback. Um, Last year, injuries were was a season-ending injury, Achilles. Obviously, Kirk Cousins didn't get to finish the season. We got to see how he bounces back, but you're giving these guys an actual quarterback who can hit his throws, can make good decisions. So I think that Atlanta has a good run. Re-signing Baker, I think, was Tampa Bay's best move. Baker played really well last year,
Fits
and
the
you don't have
culture.
to pay him as much as you would going after a veteran quarterback.
Still getting 33 mil a year. So
So here's my thing. Like Kirk, yeah, he's a good quarterback. You know what you're gonna get. But Atlanta, it's a good thing your schedule is the way it is, and you've been bad recently because you won't have as many primetime games this year. And that's very good for
yeah,
you
yeah,
because we
yeah,
all
you're
know
right.
Kirk is not good with primetime games. Here's my biggest issue with him. I think they overpaid for him simply because he's coming back from an Achilles injury. That is not an easy injury to come back to, and I just don't know. I mean, in my opinion, they're probably favorites to win that division, but I still think all of those teams are mid-tier teams. I mean, that division is just a mid division, in my opinion. Nothing stands out to me in that division.
Yeah, and I think the final team who I want to talk about obviously is going to be the Eagles. Honestly, how he's cooking right now. You go out, you get Saquon, then you get Huff, then CJGJ. You extend Dickerson and Elliott. Then you get Devontae Parker and a solid wide receiver 3. Yesterday, huge splash with Devin White, a position we needed. Now a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's
Huge.
washed right now." However, he is still probably one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And above that, you have somebody who can sit there and be a great mentor to Nakobe Dean, possibly Trotter Jr., or even Ajiren Cooper, if one that's one of the linebackers you go and draft. Um, but I don't think he's done. I really don't think he's done. Now it's interesting because we've just found out that looks like we're keeping both Reddick and we're keeping Sweat, and so we're gonna have a defensive. We're gonna have edge rushers that are Huff, Sweats, Nolan Smith, and Reddick. That's going to be a rotation, which obviously is insane. That's like anybody that's insane, almost too much. I kind of wish we would trade one
You're
of these
getting
guys.
100% stamina on that
Yeah,
edge the entire game. If
You know,
that's the case, if that's the
I couldn't
case.
help but notice when you were talking about splashes of the offseason, I couldn't help but notice you didn't mention the trade for Kenny Pickett amongst that.
QB
But
factory.
yeah, I think Howie has done a great job at pinpointing the people that he wanted. Um, I want you go back. I want you to play a clip from 2 weeks ago when I mentioned CJGJ coming back, and Nick said that he didn't think it was going to happen. Uh, I was rewatching it today, saw it. I
He
was
also
right.
Why are we
he
throwing
also
shade?
said. Also, by the way, I want to in that same clip. Nick said he wanted it to happen. He just didn't think
Yeah.
it was going
But, yeah,
to.
but he said it wasn't going to happen. But yeah, Howie has been making great moves. Got another interior offensive lineman, which was another huge signing that I didn't hear you
Oh,
mention.
Hennessy.
But yeah, getting Hennessy was a good signing. Makes you think the reason they did that was maybe we're going to see Cam Jurgens get shifted over to center. That was his
No, I was
that
gonna
was
say,
his
I think that's
position in
100% what's
college.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, he's the center. Kelsey drafted him for a reason.
mhm. And now you're looking at Saquon Barkley, who he didn't have a terrible season last year. And you think about the fact that he was running behind the third worst offensive line in football, and now he's going to be on the complete opposite side of the spectrum at the third best offensive line in football. And so you get to see how well Saquon might be doing. This team is exciting. I really hope they live up to the hype. Uh, we talk about the players a lot, but let's not forget getting a great offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, great defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio. You look at Shane Steichen, yeah, like maybe he wasn't the best defensive coordinator, but he had a top defense the year we went to the Super Bowl. And now we're getting like the master of his scheme in Vic Fangio coming to this team. So it's an exciting team to look at. I can't wait to see what they do this season.
Long-winded conversation there. Point is, they got better, right? The
Was
way I want to
Steichen
look
the
at it,
defensive
I want to
coordinator?
think, I want to thank one person for
Gannon,
all
I
of this
meant.
coming, all of this coming the way it is. How Howie Roseman is. Chip Kelly, thank you for going in there and bringing such a shitty culture to the Eagles, demoting Howie Roseman. Now ever since Chip Kelly was fired and he became our GM, the culture's changed completely, and it's amazing. And what he's been doing, I've never in any sports I've never seen a GM. I've never had more faith in a GM than I do in him and what he does. I don't know what he has on people. I'm telling you, there's a reason why Dom's there, and he's our Italian. Something is going on for him to do what he does, and I love it. I think they're only getting better. I can't wait to see Barkley behind an actual top 5 offensive line and see what he does there. Adding the veteran presence to that defense is huge. I mean, and you get to keep BG's there, helping White come back to the team so he can
BJs are
help
helping
that
White come
veteran
back?
presence. I can't wait to see it, man. I like
You
the
cut out.
veteran presence. It's gonna be fun.
You cut out. You said the BJ made the white come out.
It's BG. Sorry.
But yeah, like I guess I mean he's had a great offseason so far. Do you see any other moves that you want to happen without getting greedy,
Simmons.
obviously?
Simmons. I think Simmons is still in the work, and I don't think that because I'm an Eagles fan. I think that because the rumors are still going around today. It's still going around that we're in talks with Simmons. So I would love to see him. I mean, I can't imagine having Simmons and Gardner Johnson. I mean, that's insane. That's insane to me. But I would like to see you get a corner. If I really had to throw it out there, I want a corner because Bradbury and Slay. Bradbury sucks. Slay's getting old. I don't like it.
Yeah. And
So
I was gonna say the big thing.
I was going to say, go ahead, David.
I was gonna say the big thing for me is you need to get that corner spot. I would much rather have Blankenship with CJGJ and be able to extend Smitty and or Goddard.
Yeah, that's a good. I would take that, but I'm just saying, Blankenship's not bad. Blankenship is good. Blankenship, he led the team in tackles last year, right? I mean, that's crazy. For a safety to lead the team in tackles like that, that's
Their
crazy.
linebackers
Pretty
suck.
sure your
He led the-
linebackers are supposed to be the ones that are doing that, but
Blankenship led in Pro Bowl voting for a while too. So
I'm not saying it's not a bad pick. Like, I'm not saying
Imagine.
Blankenship isn't bad. I'm just saying if Simmons is there and he wants to sign, why not?
also you don't have to ask me what I was going to say because David said the exact thing that I was going to say.
Yeah, you want to extend, and that's the thing. That's two big offensive weapons. Where right now, yes, we're focused on defense, but I don't like getting to the point where we have to get to the next offseason and then have to fight for somebody else to get one of those two guys. Now, And it's what's going to be interesting in the draft. Obviously there's a lot of things. I thought that Brock Bowers was going to go to the Chargers, but now I don't see that happening just because of who, what they all did there. And I think that's going to be Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. somehow. So maybe if Bowers is there at 22, don't think it happens. But if he is there at 22, I would not mind getting him instead. But he's not going to be there. There's no way he's
I
going
can
to
see
be
him
there.
going. If Nate Beers gets taken by the Chargers, I can see Bowers going to the Giants.
No,
But
they're drafting.
I know
Giants
the
have Waller.
quarterback.
I know you're saying Eagles last team, talk about free agency, but if you don't mind, I want to talk about the lack thereof
Yeah.
by Dallas.
Yeah, that's my next category is gonna be people who we don't know what they're doing.
I
And we
thought
get-
we just weren't talking
my
about
bad,
the
David.
people that are
My
stupid
bad.
and don't know how to sign people. I mean,
No.
someone literally bought property in Dallas, and you didn't even reach out to that person that was a top free agent for a running back in a position that you need.
Yeah,
You just that didn't. I mean, they
Well,
didn't correlate with each other. I mean, I don't know.
Dylan's exactly correct. It's the lack thereof. I mean, oddly enough, Jerry Jones before this offseason said, "quote We're going to go all in." I don't know what all in is to them, but their only two acquisitions so far is a re-signing of their long snapper and then a 10-year-old Eric Kendricks at linebacker.
I mean, you know,
They missed out on all the running backs. There's no running backs left. Their starting running back right now is 4'8" Deuce Vaughn. That is their starting running back right now. Their only other options left are like J.K. Dobbins, I think Chase Edmonds. Those are like the only running backs, like really Zeke, and the only running backs that are available for them.
Ray Rice.
I guess he could come. That actually fit the culture. But I guess what happened? What is it? Did they overspend on other players? Is Jerry Jones not wanting to spend money, or is it coming down to the fact that Jerry Jones likes to control his team so much? Like, why aren't they doing anything?
Dude, it's a combination of all of that. I mean, it's a combination of every single thing. Jerry Jones has too much control of that team, and I am so thankful that he does, because anyone that was smart enough they would not to run that team would probably take them to a Super Bowl. Thank goodness it's Jerry Jones, because he's an idiot. Second of all, you got Parsons you're going to have to sign, right? You're going to have to extend him, and you need that cap space. You have CeeDee Lamb. You're going to have to extend him. Dak wants extensions, so you have to extend, at least start looking like you want it. I mean, it looks like he's just on vacation right now, not caring. At least start, do an extension on someone. Show that you're trying to do something. But no, they're not. I mean, there's no one really that's going to be good enough at that running back position now. And do you think you're going to draft a running back in this draft class? Because
not how far back they
the
are.
running backs, they're not that good this year. They're not that good. There's one running back out there, and you're not going to get him. I don't know. I think Jerry Jones is starting to hit his deathbed, and they just need to throw him out. You need to do something. If you're a Dallas fan, you want Jerry Jones to just sit back and be the owner and not the GM too at this point, because it's stupid what they're doing.
But here's the thing, though. You have to realize Jerry Jones is the one who has to hire that GM. Usually the owner, like you look at Jeffrey Lurie, when Chip Kelly wanted to be the GM, Jeffrey Lurie was like, okay, you're GM. But then once he fired him, they made the changes. Jeffrey Lurie was like, all right, that was a terrible mistake. And he's probably never going to allow another coach to be the GM ever again, especially when you have a guy like Howie. But you look back with Jerry Jones, he is the head of the company. So it is his choice, and clearly he wants to have control of that team. He has this weird mentality like my money, my choices, which is true, but it's costing your team. And now you look at Dak Prescott, these allegations coming out. How is that going to affect Dak Prescott at QB? Like, is there going to be a suspension in the future? Is he not going to be playing 100% because he has that in the back of his mind? You're looking at a team that seems to be crumbling down, and it's starting at the foundation, which is Jerry Jones.
Has been forever.
Yeah, I mean he has too much control, and that's what's pushed out people like Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells, good coaches that just got pushed out because he wants too much control. Without going deep into it, at the end of the day, they are allegations. He's not proven guilty at all. We got to make sure due diligence is done, even if he's a cowboy. Due diligence is done. I'm not going to say he's guilty until we get proven that he is guilty. Obviously.
Oh,
So we murdered Dylan.
yeah. He was talking a lot of trash on how you are innocent until proven guilty. And I'm sorry, but you're guilty until proven innocent if you have anything to do with that star. Just in my book. But yeah, I mean, it sucks for them. Great for us. And that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. Anything else we want to talk about free agency wise before we move on?
No, I mean, I think we pretty much hit everything. I haven't heard anything else that's really on the radar. As far as, I mean, I'm sure more is to come.
Oh, how about this? We'll talk about it a little bit. This goes out to your friends. Let's talk about the Giants for a little bit. Let's talk about what are the Giants doing. You look at their offense right now, right? And so you have three quarterbacks right now. You have Tommy DeVito, you have Daniel Jones, and you just got Drew Lock. And then now it comes out that they want to trade up to get another quarterback. If you're the Giants right now, your offensive weapons are looking like this. You get Devin Singletary. Your wide receiver one is what? Slayton is their wide receiver one, and then your wide receiver two is I have no idea, and then you have Waller, and then an awful offensive line. Then you're paying Daniel Jones $40 million to possibly sit on the bench, and you're paying Brian Burns a buttload of money while having people like Thibodeau, who's going to need to be spent money on sometime soon too.
Yeah, they absolutely botched this one. If there's, I mean, I would honestly say what Dallas is doing is better what they've been doing. I mean, I'm sorry, you can be as happy as you want that you have Burns there. Burns is aging. He's not the same person. I mean, yeah, that defensive line is going to be fantastic this year. But what are you going to do when they're all tired and you need to bring in replacements? You're not really having anyone there to help with that. No offensive line. You owe someone $40 million at a quarterback position who's coming off of an injury.
And you might bench him.
And you're thinking about drafting another quarterback. Keep in mind, like you said, Devin Singletary, not saying he's not good, but that's it. He's just good. He's not great. You know what you're getting. And your weapons, who are you going to throw? You're going to rely on Waller? Waller's injury prone too. I mean, if there's someone that's botched an offseason, it's definitely the Giants. I mean, you let your franchise player walk out and go to a rival team, and he's ecstatic to be in Philly now. He's ecstatic to be there. He got paid his money. They didn't even offer him a contract. I mean, they just absolutely botched this offseason. And getting another quarterback is just going to add more confusion to it.
Yeah, and you're not just at that point. You're not going to be able to fill the positions that you need. I mean, I think you lie in your bed with quarterback right now, and you just try to draft around that. And then in the future, 2 or 3 years down the line, when you're done with the Daniel Jones contract, you can move on from there. But as we're talking about this, let's talk about our two fallen soldiers, former Eagles, Stoll and Jalen Mills are now Giants, and I just want to have one heartfelt message to you guys. You're dead to me.
Yeah. You gone.
Words of Giants legend Tiki Barber.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gone. The culture's gone.
It's crazy. This is like the Giant. And I agree with you. I feel like not doing anything is a lot better than paying a dude who had one overrated season because you got a fourth place schedule, made the playoffs, and were able to play a Vikings team who was like 11 and like 1 in one possession games through the regular season. So it's honestly crazy to me. And that Giants team also got slaughtered 38-7 in the playoff game against the Eagles. So,
oh yeah, that's exactly what happened, isn't it? I forgot.
It's crazy. I don't know. The Giants organization hasn't been ran well at all. They luckily got 2 Super Bowls somehow in 2007 and 2011. I don't know how they got the Super Bowl. I don't know who they blew to get those Super Bowls, but good on them. I mean, they're the only reasons Tom Brady doesn't have like 9 rings now. So it's honestly crazy. But I guess moving on, I'm talking a little bit about March Madness.
Oh, I couldn't wait to get to this, man. Since nobody's here, I want to do a little dubs and chugs between you and I.
Okay.
But instead, if you beat me in this dubs and chugs, strictly basketball, NBA or NCAA basketball, I will get you a prize on Amazon. You won't know what it is, but I will get you a prize on Amazon.
Okay.
I mean, it's. I like it. I'm glad that it's here. We're so close to March Madness. It starts next weekend, which is oddly enough my birthday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Which also oddly enough means, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, I haven't had anything to drink since New Year's. I planned on not drinking until my birthday. Guys, it's here. I am going to be just like you guys, and I'm going to be having some drinks and watching some March Madness. With that being the case, we have some championships, semifinals going on. I mean, talk about it. Does Ohio State have a chance to go to the Big Ten championship?
I mean, that's the interesting thing to me. And beyond that, the tourney. I mean, you have a team who started off the year pretty good. They beat some pretty good teams. They beat the number 17 team Alabama. And then they just kind of fell off after that. They did not look good. They fired their head coach. And then after firing their head coach, they're 6-1, beating the number 2 Purdue in the nation to beat Michigan State in Michigan State. They're the 10th seed in the Big Ten. They beat Iowa last night by 12. And they look great. Now, unfortunately, the committee does not sit there and go, oh, they switched coaches. Let's grade them differently. Mm-hmm. Their only chance, really, I truthfully think the only chance to even make a tournament is going to be if they win out and get the automatic bid from the Big Ten. It'll be interesting to see because they play Illinois at 6:30. Be very interesting to see if they win that. Does that solidify them enough? Probably not.
It should. Because that's a big win. I mean, that's a huge win for them. I mean, it's already finalized. Michigan State lost to Purdue today. So final is going to be Purdue versus Ohio State or Illinois. Ohio State's beat Purdue. It's not out of the question.
Wait, isn't it? I thought this is quarterfinals because Penn State beat Indiana yesterday.
Hold on. I'm going through. You were right. Quarterfinals because Indiana plays Nebraska. So
Indiana plays in Nebraska?
Indiana plays Nebraska.
I thought.
And let's see. Hold on. Let me pull up the other one.
I swear that Penn State won last night.
Indiana plays Nebraska. Am I stupid and can't find the other teams? I'm missing someone here. And Wisconsin and Northwestern. They're all playing right now. Good news is for Ohio State is that they won't have to play Purdue unless they make it to the finals. So their road to victory, I think that is between Indiana and Nebraska, right? If they beat them, they're going to play Indiana and Nebraska, one of the two. That's more doable than playing Illinois, in my opinion. But I think if they get this win tonight, I think they're at least going to be in the talks. They're at least going to get some sort of bid in works for this one. Another one that I kind of wanted to bring up is, does St. John's have a chance to beat UConn? Do they really have a chance to beat UConn and solidify their bid into it?
UConn is a very, very interesting team to me. Are they still they're still number 1 in the nation right now, or are they?
Yeah, I believe they're number 1 and Purdue's number 2, I believe, right? No, Houston's number 1.
Houston's
number 1.
Yeah, Purdue's 3, I believe. Regardless, I mean, it's a UConn team who I want to say they are good. It's just really hard when you look at the conference they're playing inside to sit there and be able to be like, yeah, this team's like a top 5 team. Now, win-wise, yeah. They get the games they play, they've won. I understand that. Does St. John's get it done? I doubt it. I really do. As much as it would be fun to see them get it done, I just don't think they do. And usually St. John's, they used to play somewhat spoiler in the old Big East out there. But I just don't think they get it done against UConn.
I really hope they do. I would love to see it. But really, I mean, a big one is does Houston top Texas Tech? Texas Tech's been playing some good ball lately, and that's a good matchup today.
Yeah, but this Houston team is a really good team. Are they overrated too? I'm not sure. Texas Tech has been playing good basketball as of recently too. It's just again one of those games where I just can't go ahead and pick the underdog in it. I just feel like Houston is the better team. I feel like that will show today. It's really yes, March Madness is full of a bunch of upsets, and it's a one game at a time. I just think Houston is that much better of a ball club than Texas Tech is.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's a surprising team, and I know you're going to hate it, but Florida somehow has come to life in the latter half of the season. You know, they beat Alabama already. They're playing them again tonight. I believe they beat Alabama twice. They're playing them tonight. You know, they need to keep going to be able to make it to the tournament. And they've been a very surprising team as of late. So they've kind of been like Ohio State, kind of going on a run. I look forward to seeing what they can do against them. It'd be interesting for sure.
Yeah, and truthfully, I would pick Florida to win that game. And they've played they played very up and down ball. They're either really good or they're really bad this year, but they've played against the good teams really well. Like you said, they beat Alabama, they beat Kentucky. I feel like both times they played them this year. And so Florida has the team to make a decent run in the tourney if they were to make it there. And I honestly think they will beat Alabama today.
Yeah, exactly. Last one, and then I want to go through some picks because this is a pretty big matchup. You got Baylor versus Iowa State.
Yeah, I mean, in the first matchup or I forget which one, the last time they played each other, it was a great game. It was a really good game. I believe it went to overtime. True. Who do I have the win? I guess I'll go Baylor. I want to go Iowa State. I'm going to go Baylor with this one. I think Baylor will end up winning.
Yeah. I mean, Baylor, they're a good team. They're both good. It's really hard to pick, which is why I didn't take them in my big bet. LSU, screw you. You just cost me $1,400 on a $1 bet. I hit everything else. You just had to go and lose to Mississippi State, didn't you?
And Ben Simmons was from there.
You just had to do that to me. Cost me, and if I would have taken Mississippi State, I would have won more money off of that. So screw you. But yeah, I mean, I just want to go through. We're gonna do what we normally do, and again, if you beat me, I'll have a prize coming your way. So we'll start it. We'll start it off here. We have South. Oh, nope, that game already started. Kent State versus Bowling Green.
Really digging deep into the barrel here. You know what? Give me Kent State.
Nice. Yeah, Kent State's a good team this year. Bowling Green, I think, wins this because Bowling Green is a 3-point shooting team. So they're going to be relying heavily on that. And I think they're going to get it done in that one. We'll go to the next one. St. Peter's versus Quinnipiac.
I think Quinnipiac going to win. I mean, I know St. Peter's, they were a tournament Cinderella a couple years ago, but I believe they're like an 11th seed in their conference tournament or something like that.
They're the 5th seed. Quinnipiac's the number 1 seed. Yeah, Quinnipiac's they're a good team this year. Surprising team throughout the years. But again, St. Peter's,
yeah, the
something
tournament
about
experience.
that peacock. You gotta let that peacock fly, dude. So I'm gonna go St. Peter's on this one. Next game, we'll go Pittsburgh versus UNC.
Yeah, and UNC has not shown me anything to bet against them in the ACC right now. They're the best team in the ACC this year. They destroyed Florida State, ruined their chances of going to any kind of tournament. And I'm just not going to go against UNC here.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, right? I mean, I feel like they should get the job done there. Relatively easy.
You're looking at an easy 1 seed probably or 2 seed in the tourney.
Yeah, You never. I mean, you never know, right? You never
Yeah.
know.
If you're gonna lose
Uh,
one, you might as well lose one now.
exactly. Another kind of toss-up game, in my opinion, is Texas A&M versus Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, both. As of last time I checked, I think both teams are going to either make the tournament or Texas A&M's a bubble team. It's just Kentucky has been playing again. I would say up and down ball. They have the talent, they have the stars there,
Yep.
but they just keep losing big games. I'm gonna go Texas A&M here. I feel like it's a little bit of up. I'm gonna go Texas A&M.
No, I mean it's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick, man. I mean Texas A&M, they've been rolling. They've been rolling. Kentucky wants to solidify probably a 2 to 3 seed, probably 3 seed here. So they need to get the job done. Texas A&M, they win. They have a chance to make it into the tournament. So they're a bubble team right now. But I just think Kentucky has more talent, and I think that
Yeah.
talent's going to be the reason why they win this game. So we'll go into the next one. We have, oh man, I love it. Florida Atlantic versus North Texas.
Yeah. Now, obviously FAU has been floating in the top 25 all year, but has been losing a lot of what would be easy games to actual opponents. Now, we saw FAU make it all the way to the Final Four last year. I believe they made it the championship game last year. Either made it the championship or they lost in the Final Four. I forget which one there was. I believe it was the championship game they lost in. I just don't think they're that. But are they better than North Texas? Yeah, they probably are better than North Texas. I'm going to go Florida Atlantic. I don't think North Texas is a good team.
Yeah, I wanted to throw you off, see how much you've really been paying attention to this. I mean, Florida Atlantic, they're a surprising team to anyone really. No one really thinks about them. I mean, North Texas has made a decent run, but I think Florida Atlantic's going to win this game. We'll go Baylor versus Iowa State.
Yeah, I already said I think Baylor's going to win. I feel like it's going to be a really good game, really close game. I feel like Baylor is just a better team by a little bit, but if Iowa State wins, I would not be surprised. It's going to be a good one.
It's hard to choose. It's hard to choose this one, man. Iowa State's been playing good ball. Baylor's been playing good ball this year. This is a tough decision. But I think Baylor wins too, dude. I really do. I think Baylor's going to get this one done. San Diego State versus Utah State.
That's interesting. San Diego State's one of those teams who usually are a pretty decent ball team too. But Utah State's been doing pretty well this year for themselves. I believe they're also a top 25 team. So I'm going to go with Utah State in this one.
Yeah, I mean they've been a really surprising team this year. What's crazy is San Diego's always that team that finds a way to win games and does it very sneakily. I'm going to take San Diego State to win this one. They've been there. They know the presence. The culture's there. So I think San Diego State. And for my bet, I hope they win. Let's see. All right. Yeah. A couple more here. We'll do Colorado versus Washington State.
Yeah, and so this one, Colorado, for some reason, again, a team that found itself in the top 25 for a good part of the season, lost some games, and Washington State, I believe, if I remember correctly, was like a 19th, 17th ranked team. They were like in the top. They were in there in the top 25. Give me Colorado. I feel like they're underdog in this one, but I'm going to go with Colorado in it.
They are the underdog. Actually, no, they're not. Washington State's the underdog in this one. And Washington State's, I think, ranked 22 right now. The toss-up of a game, it could go either way, man. But I feel like Colorado's been playing better ball there. So I think Colorado's probably going to get that done. But we got one more to go through. Let's see if I can find one for you that will throw you off here.
He's going to go to like the Sun Belt.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Really good one. Princeton versus Brown.
Oh, those Ivy Leagues. Historically, it feels like Princeton, Harvard, or Yale always comes out of that Ivy League. So, but let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? My dad works for UPS, so what can Brown do for you? I hope they win this game because that's what I'm picking.
Hey, man. I mean, you never know with the Ivy League, dude. You never know. I mean, you're right. Normally, you see the Harvard, Princeton.
Yale.
Yeah, those are normally the ones you see. I would love to pick Brown. I would love to pick Brown. But
Pick it from your butt
Princeton
all the
has
time.
been the best team this year in the league. I think I'm going to be smart here, just like the Ivy League is, and I'm going to take the team that has the better chance and is favored by, I think, 7 or 9.5, something like that. And I'm going to take Princeton in this one.
Yeah, Brown's
for
gonna be
sure.
my underwear after I get destroyed in this.
But hey, that's all I have, man. You have anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, Dylan says something about certified baller, but I did that earlier this week. So unless you have nothing else, I think we're good to go.
Yeah. Hey, guys, it's the weekend. So you know what that
St.
means.
Patrick's Day weekend.
You do whatever you do. You go out, you drink, you get some green beer, you get whatever you
Have a
want.
car bomb.
You do you. Enjoy it. Guys, there's a
Look at
lot of
Irish.
basketball to be had this weekend. I hope you enjoy that weekend.
I'll try to enjoy my hardest. I'll probably eat some Lucky Charms there.
Ooh.
I think that's Scottish. I'm
Make
not sure that's Irish. I think it's
Make sure
cultural
you wear your
appropriation.
green.
Yeah, I'm
Be
wearing
festive.
it. I have the Eagles jersey and I'm just a little bit early to the party. But actually,
me
fun
too.
fact, we're talking about the church in Philadelphia this week in church. And, I may wear my Philadelphia Eagles shirt, which will, double dip in not only the Church of Philadelphia, but wearing green for St. Patrick's Day.
I love it. I love it. You got to be festive. Perfect. All right. Well, you guys enjoy the weekend.
From
We'll
artists.
talk at you later.
Don't do whatever you want.
Just like,
listen to Nick.
subscribe, tell your friends, tell your
See ya.
mother. You know what? You probably told her for you. Yo, listen up, let me introduce to you the Highlight Taken podcast. We bring the heat, is true. Hosted by David, Nick, and Christian. That's a crew. They drop knowledge and hot takes at the sports IQ. We dive into the game from hoops to gridiron, analyzing every play like we were the champion. With witty banter and humor, we keep it fun. HTP fam, we always bring the number one. Highlight Taken podcast, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, living the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype. We not just blowing steam.